One-on-One is an interview conversation sharing stories one life at a time to get you inspired and motivated to keep growing in life and to making those dreams happen. This week we will be talking about Bagosphere. So we will be having a conversation with a few people behind Bagosphere. But what exactly is Bagosphere? Have you heard of the name? What do they do? And who are the people behind it? This week, I am joined by Ellywn Tan, and later on, you will also get to know a few others who's working for Bagosphere. Ellywn Tan, thank you very much for being in the program.
Thank you.
Ellywn Tan is the business development head and the co-founder of Bagosphere. Ellywn, before we actually start talking about Bagosphere, I'm interested, and I'm sure the people watching is also interested to get to know you. Who is Ellywn Tan, and what was your journey like? How did you reach Bagosphere?
Well, my name is Ellywn, and I'm from Singapore. So, how did I get involved with Bagosphere?
Yes.
Well, to be honest, when I first started, so what happened was when I was still in college, in university, National University of Singapore, another co-founder, so Bagosphere is started by 3 co-founders, myself, Ivan and Zihan.
Okay.
And Ivan and I, we brought community service teams over from NUS to Bago City in particular, because we have a relationship with the city government where we bring students from NUS over we raise funds there, and then we help renovate elementary schools, or we do feeding programs in Bago City.
Okay.
And we also bring in books or clothes to provide for the needy people, underprivileged in Bago City. So that was how we got to know Bago City and the Philippines. It was actually my first time here in Philippines in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I liked the place, obviously. And what I observed there was that something that caught my attention was that when I was there in November, December period, many people were actually walking around in the afternoon, youths, and not doing much. So I was wondering, why aren't they in school? So that caught my curiosity, and found out that, actually a lot of them have difficulties continuing their education, or even looking for a job. Okay. And it's kind of like struck me that, in Singapore we take things for granted. After we go to college, you're going to get a job in an office, or if you're good, you're a doctor.
For you
in Singapore,
yes.
Right? So I realized that it's not the case here. And what we are doing there in the Philippines also got me thinking. We were doing renovations, we're bringing books. These are all activities that are kind of one time only. It's not sustainable. And the amount of money that we raise to bring the whole team here, right, could have been used to perhaps fund a project that could be more sustainable in the long run. So that got me and Ivan thinking about, what are we doing? Is this something really impactful?
Sustainable for the long term.
For the long term. So that was how everything started. That's where it sparked off the interest in social issues. So during the university, I also went through a internship program where it's called the NOC program in Singapore. We went over to Shanghai for myself. Zihan was also a part of the program. He went to Sweden, and Ivan as well. We went to Shanghai, and we learned about starting businesses. Okay. We learned about social entrepreneurship then, and that's how everything kind of like, actually, doing good can be sustainable through business. Business methods management. Okay. And we wanted to bring this, do something here in the Philippines, because Ivan and I, we like the place, and there's a lot of opportunities here for the youths, for the underprivileged here, and that got us started thinking about it. And then Zihan, on the other hand, he did an internship in India as well, that was doing similar training in India, and he had the idea to bring it to the Philippines as well. We got connected, and that's how everything started.
Yes. But Ellywn, before we really dive deeper into what Bagosphere is, what sparked your interest in the first place? Like Ivan and Zihan, your friends from the university. But what was the thing or the factor that really caused the interest to do that? Like, and why Bago? How did you get connected with Bago in the first place?
So, why we were interested in this?
Yes.
I think
Was it something, a project in school that you did, or were you really involved into an advocacy in Singapore then?
Which was the community service project was
Yes.
what sparked the interest in social issues,
okay.
right? And on a personal end, I think we were very young and idealistic. We wanted to do something.
Full of zeal.
Yeah, we wanted to do something that is different, challenging, interesting, meaningful. So that's what got us like, okay, let's try and solve this together.
Yes.
Right. Zian and I and us, we didn't know each other before we started Bagosphere. Yeah. So it's the interest of trying to solve this issue and wanting to do something that is challenging and different that brought us, the three of us, together, and try to do something here in Bago City. So how do we get to know Bago?
Yes, of all places in the Philippines, it can be Manila or it can be Bacolod City. Why Bago of all places?
Actually, we're also asking that question. Why? How did the NUS students get to know Bago City?
Yes.
So there was to be honest, we are not very clear what happened in the beginning. So it was a kind of like community service projects that has spanned across 10 years, and actually it's still ongoing now.
Yes.
Yeah, from student groups in NUS where NUS students organize a team and just bring people over here. I think initially the beginning was there was a project that was supposed to be in EMMYLOU, and the project didn't happen, and they were introduced to someone in Bago, and that's how it got started. So one student in Singapore tried to do something in EMMYLOU.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then got introduced to the Bago City government, and that's how.
So it's from Iloilo
Yes.
all the way to Bago.
Yeah, so
you have
that
to
nothing.
cross the
Yes,
seas.
nothing happened in Iloilo, so it didn't push through. So
Okay.
so it was started in Bago City, and over the years, we bring a team. So part of the team are usually the juniors, so they decided to lead the next team. So that's how it's carried on over the years since 2000, in early 2000s. Yeah, so that's how we got to know Bago City. Yeah, so it's like part of a ongoing project. Yeah.
I'm also very interested to know why you named your social enterprise as Bagosphere. Why do you have to like sort of connect it to Bago and not something else? Because did it ever occur to you that you might come out of Bago City and do the business or the training somewhere else? Why Bagosphere?
Right. So Bago is not only specific to Bago City. So for one, yes, we wanted to show the appreciation that we started from Bago City, and the local city government has also provided us with a lot of support while we are starting up. Secondly, Bago in Tagalog means new, right? Means
Yes,
new, and
right.
it is we wanted Bagosphere to be a stepping stone for the youths to new opportunity, to a new world of where they can develop themselves. They are able to provide for themselves and their families to pursue their dreams and create this sphere of leaders in the community. So that's why there's a sphere. So we are looking at it as a community and not just training, and then that's the end. Right? So we want to bring everyone together.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I found out as well, there's also a Bago tree. That is, so that's why our logo is also a tree. Yeah.
When we come back, we will get to know the core programs of Bagosphere and how long have they been existing. And later on, we will also get to know the success stories. Welcome back, and this week our conversation is still about Bagosphere. Earlier on, we talked about how Ellywn Tan became involved with Bagosphere and how they founded it. Ellywn, I would like to ask you, how long has Bagosphere been existing?
Well, so Bagosphere started in 2012, late 2012. Our first class started in 2013 till now, so that's 3 to 4 years already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bagosphere is a social enterprise, and you do training for out-of-school youth. Can you explain to us your core programs? What exactly do you do? Who are the what kind of youth that any youth can actually join in your program? Is that possible or not? So can you tell us about that?
Right. So Bagosphere is a social enterprise vocational training. We provide intensive and affordable training programs for to prepare youth for jobs through English communication skills, IT skills, life skills, to help them find a job quickly. So our program is 2 months long, and they are open to youths 18 and above, right, and have completed the high school diploma. So they must be a high school graduate. Yeah. And right now we work closely with our partners who are the call centers.
Yes.
So after 2 months, we help them go to all the different call centers to apply for a job. Yeah, so the programs are a little bit different from what you would expect in the usual training centers.
Yes.
Most of the training that we observe here are more lecture style. Yeah, and what we do here is very activity based, very immersive, where the students actually do more practice than listening just to the teachers, right? So they learn by doing, and they get a lot of feedback and then assessments. And then we also support them after their training, after they graduate.
So that's after 2 months?
That's after 2 months. We help them look for jobs. We don't guarantee a job, but what we do is we support them in terms of helping them look for job opportunities. And because we work closely with the call centers, whenever there are opportunities, we'll also share the openings to them. Yeah, and actually after the training, most of our students, they get placed in the call center within 2 weeks, 60 to 70% of them within 2 weeks, and then over 6 months, 80% of them actually get a job in the call center. Yeah.
So that's the same, like you mentioned about communication programs, you have that, and IT as well. So that's basically the same all throughout. It takes 2 months.
Yes, it's not modular, it's all integrated. So the modules follows like a storyline where you learn English at the same time. For example, there's a story between this Filipino and her American pen pal. And through these interactions between the American and the Filipino, they learn about IT skills, where they might need to do some booking of etiquettes. They need to write and send each other emails. So students, they go through this program like role playing, and they do these activities and they learn at the same time. Yeah, so
it's integrated.
Yes, it's all integrated. So they learn also life skills, how to manage the stress, how do they work in a multinational company like in a call center, how do you deal with criticism, how do you accept feedback, receive feedback from your supervisors, things like that. And also financial literacy, because most of the youths, the students, they get a huge salary after they get a job at the call center, and they need to learn how to manage their salaries, right? And the training is because we believe in teaching people how to fish and not to give a fish.
Exactly.
Right. So one of the core beliefs is that they need to take ownership of their training, and that's why there's tuition fee to keep this model, this system sustainable, so that we can train more people, right, through these the tuition fees.
Yeah, because you mentioned earlier it's an intensive and it's also affordable. The intensive meaning that's 2 months. And like for how many days? Is it like Mondays to Fridays? Does it include Saturdays? And for how many hours in a day?
So the training is full-time, Monday to Fridays, for 2 months. So that's 40 days. And training starts from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. on a daily basis.
Well, basically that's doable, because then you're catering for the out-of-school youths, and that means that they have nothing to do during the day. So I guess it's just better that they spend it with education or educating themselves. Would you mind mentioning how much do you charge for the registration fee?
So it depends on the financing organization. So what we do is we select them, and then we endorse them to our financing partner, who will provide them with the loan. And so in terms of registration fee, there's nothing paid upfront to us, right? So it's really to process. So So it's just their transportation here,
Yes.
the fees processing, their requirements to
Yes.
apply for the loan,
Yes.
and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about selection.
Yes.
What exactly happens during your selection time? Which means it can be very possible that there's an out-of-school youth, like let's say there's, should we mention like a helper in the house, and you know, the bosses would want their helpers to go to school and study so they can improve on themselves.
Right.
And then there are also those out-of-school youths who may not be helpers really, but they are just really out-of-school youths. Now, with those different, let's say, applicants for your school, is there any possibility that some of them will not actually be registered into the program because they are not able to qualify during the selection process? Is that ever possible? Or does it ever happen to you?
Sorry, you mean that they...
Like, let's say we have like 20 applicants. Is there a possibility that all these 20 will not actually be admitted into the program because of the selection process?
There is a possibility. So 2 months of training is actually not really long.
Okay.
If you want to improve someone's English.
Yes.
So we do have a selection process. It's just an interview, a face-to-face interview with one of our trainers.
Yes.
And we determine if we are able to train that person up in 2 months' time to be able to get a job. So we don't want to burden the person with a loan because we just want them to come into the program, right? Because it's important that to us that at the end of the training, they must be able to have a good chance of landing a job. Yeah, so that's why we have that selections there. So highly possible that that could happen. Yeah.
So how do you select actually the youth? Like you mentioned, you do the selection and then you endorse it to the financing company. So how do you select them?
So first thing is they come and apply to us. We will go through, we do an interview with them.
So you do walk-ins?
Yes, walk-ins. They walk-ins, or we actually advertise on Facebook as well.
Okay.
So they can apply on Facebook. We will call them and they come in. One of our trainers will interview them on their English competency, right? And then also on motivation. Then if they pass the interviews, we'll provide them with a briefing on what to do in terms of enrollment. So the next step is actually to go to the financing company, our partner, which is a project NWTF, Negros Women for Tomorrow's Foundation. So they will do the credit investigation, they go through the process of for them to apply the loan. Once they get the loan, they will be able to enter the training program. Yes. So that's all.
Ellywn, from the year that you started up to now, I'm very interested and wanted to know what are the challenges and the problems that you have encountered so far?
Wow.
Well, given that you're a foreigner doing advocacy work here in Bacolod City, in the Philippines, plus the fact that you're dealing with out-of-school youths, and this has different personalities, this has different backgrounds and all that, plus you have, of course, investors to take care of, you have people in Bagosphere to also take care of. That's a whole lot of a challenge.
Right.
So what can you tell us, like maybe 1 or 2 of the challenges that you have eventually overcome?
So, well, where do I start on that? So
yes,
right.
Before you talk about that, we will be back. Welcome back to EMMYLOU One-on-One, and we are still talking about Bagosphere this week. And I am still with Ellywn Tan, and we have another guest that has joined us, and I will introduce later. Ellywn, I left you with a question about the challenges. Can you tell us?
Well, a couple come to mind. I think first on a personal level, as a Singaporean foreigner coming to Philippines, working with Filipinos, I think one of the research polls have shown that a couple of years ago that Singaporeans are the least emotional, and Filipinos being the most emotional people, at least in the region, right?
Yeah, that was
so I
the
think
research.
that was one of the challenges that I think I faced, right, personally, because I tend to
became emotional too.
maybe I tend to be we tend to be more direct in how we communicate with people. And I think what I realized is that I have to be more sensitive, to the feelings and emotions of the people that are working together with us.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the main challenges I had to overcome. So.
So you say you have overcome that?
More or less, you can.
Well,
I believe
you
that
made progress, and
I
that's
made
okay.
progress, right?
Yes.
I think I made some progress there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's one of the challenges I had. I think I overcame. And on Bagospheres, and I think it's not exactly overcame. We have not exactly overcome it.
Yes.
It's really about getting the word out, right? Establishing ourselves as an organization that is truly helping people, and not just out there to try to make a quick buck out of the underprivileged people here. And because while we are talking to the applicants and actually some of the people, the students before, so what I learned is that a lot of people still think that we are not legit. Yeah, so that it's difficult to convince people sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I understand some of they have bad experiences before. So this is something that we are still working on. We are working toward it, and we are trying to build our credibility by showing that people can actually get a job through our program.
And we are legit.
Yeah.
We're not a fly-by-night social enterprise here, and that's good. So Ellywn, we have with us Mr. Adrian Ackeret. Welcome to the program, Adrian. Adrian is the project leader at the Ellywn Foundation for Ethics and Globalization, and you are one of the partners that work with Bagosphere. What made you to decide to invest in Bagosphere instead of the other investments, unless you have other investments as well, but why Bagosphere? And how did you get to know actually Bagosphere in Ellywn?
A very good question. Ellywn Foundation, we are a philanthropic impact investor. You could think of that like a venture capital fund for social enterprises. And we do investments across the globe, from Latin America to Africa to India and to Southeast Asia. And what we are looking for is, our motto is impact through entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So we are really looking for those models where we feel that they have a high impact, positive impact on individuals, opening up new opportunities for, in this case, for instance, for out-of-school youth. And at the same time, doing this in a sustainable manner, in an entrepreneurial manner, that can scale, that can become fully viable over the long term without constantly needing new donations, new handouts from whoever is concerned. And so we are looking for new opportunities to invest constantly. And when we met with Ellywn and Sihan and Ivan, we found that this is a model that perfectly fits our criteria. And that made us invest into Bagosphere, because we really believe that in this hugely important issue of youth economic opportunities, Bagosphere is pioneering a model that is quite unique and is really leading the way, not just here in the country, I believe, but also in the region and maybe even globally.
Yeah, you mentioned about the word pioneering. I guess it's very important, especially for those starting, for the startup businesses, and for the startup advocacy or any endeavor, because really, if we're just starting up, all we need is someone to believe in us so we can make it happen. And it's very good that Ellywn Foundation got connected with Bagosphere. But how did you present? You must have done a really good presentation.
Actually, I think it was me who met Nicole from Ellywn Foundation first in Manila. It wasn't really so much of a pitching or presentation. It's really more like a conversation, like really trying to understand what Ellywn Foundation is about, and Nicole trying to understand what we actually do and what we have done so far. So it's really about getting to know each other better.
And getting the message.
Yes,
really,
getting the message across.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first meeting wasn't really a pitch kind of
which is good.
thing.
Yes,
Actually,
it's not a hard sell.
Actually, what we really believe in is partnership. So we are always looking for companies, social enterprises to invest in, who seek investors that our partners. So our noble mission, you could say, is really help social enterprises establish themselves and social entrepreneurs like Ellywn really reach their full potential to then reach out to people in need of opportunity and put this really front and center of their mission. And so that's why, as a foundation, we are maybe a good investor for Bagosphere because we help Bagosphere really focus on achieving the goal of unleashing the human potential of the young people who are looking for jobs here.
Which is good. And how long have you been partnering with Bagosphere?
For 2.5 years now.
2.5 years. How is it like so far?
Well, actually, we couldn't be more happy than with the partnership we have with Bagosphere. We really think that what makes Bagosphere a very promising social enterprise is this combination of a highly competent and driven team of entrepreneurs, a very good team here, a local team as well, and on the other hand, this really laser-like focus on what the people need, who are actually taking part in the trainings and really establishing a leading-edge training program here.
Yes, how long have you been in the Philippines? Is this like your job that you would go visit your partners?
Yes, I'm based in Zurich in Switzerland, so I arrived 2 days ago, but
This
it's not
is your
my
first time?
No, absolutely not. It's actually my fifth visit to Bacolod and to be with the team and with Bagosphere, and that's my job, coming here, and it's always great to be back and to see what's going on.
I'm sure, Adrian, with your time coming here, you would also encounter the students that Bagosphere is helping. Have you ever encountered like success stories? Have you talked to these students who have made a difference in their lives, who have somehow progressed? And how did that make you feel?
Absolutely. I think that's the most rewarding and humbling experience you can have. To see people who really overcome their personal challenges and make this huge transition in their lives to leading a rural lifestyle, maybe here or growing up here in the city, and then working in a call center in a totally globalized, standardized environment, which really needs a lot of confidence. And what I can say is that this is what shows me why I make my job. We're seeing how people make this transition, how Bagosphere helps young people make this transition and really believe in themselves, that they can reach for their really starting point to maybe reaching the stars afterwards. So I think that's
grow
that's
in
great.
life and make dreams
Absolutely.
happen. That's what you're for. Like, you know, you're very focused though on training them, right? So between the two of you, how else do you think can you improve your partnership together? Like for people would want to know that, okay, we know this place is legit because now we see and we hear them. But between the two of you, is there any future to your partnership? How else can you help each other for the betterment of the Filipino youth?
Well, definitely. I mean, as Ellywn Foundation has been a very great partner. It's not just an investor where they just put in the money and then that's it. That's a lot of mentorship that's going along, and also a lot of network that the foundation was able to help us, talk to experts, talk to people who can make the connections to help us grow the business, open opportunities for us, look for more options apart from just the call center industry, right? So how I see we can grow this would be being able to not just open options to the call center industry, but perhaps there might be other opportunities where we can help youths go through the program and actually aspire to do something that is something that they really want to, because not everyone can be a call center agent. Not everyone wants to work as a call center agent. There are so many options and paths in life, and that's something that as Bagosphere, I think Zia and I, we're also looking at in terms of how we can provide more options for the youth in the future.
Yes.
And that's how I think through Elywn's Foundation Network, the foundation's influence and people that they know and mentorship, we are able to move toward that direction, toward that goal, and scaling this across the nation,
Yes.
essentially.
When we come back, we will be joined by one of their students and we will continue the conversation. Earlier on, we talked about how Bagosphere is making an impact and a positive difference here in Bacolod City and eventually in the nation, here in the Philippines. For this segment, we are joined by one of their success stories, and that is one of their students, Miss Catherine Oñate. Catherine, thank you for joining the program and the people who have made a positive difference in your life. Catherine, mamangkot ko sa imo, how did you hear about Bagosphere and what made you apply?
Yes. Actually, first, Bagosphere, nabatian ko na siya from my mom. So, my friend siya and ang daughter niya, ga-train man din sa Bagosphere. So, at first, my mom told me nabatian ko ang Bagosphere kay tita mo. So, about na siya sa call center. So, ga-train sila for 2 months out of school youths para sa future to become a call center agent. So, nagamo ko yung mama, at first, I have doubts na
Why?
yeah, at first, I have doubts because sometimes, gapanumdum ko nga, call center, maybe budlay na siya, English na sa, about computers, samo na. Nagambal si mama, try lang, wala man may makumadula, amo na, mag-try ka. So, on that day, naglakad kami sa office ng Bagosphere in Bago City branch.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you live in Bacolod City?
No, in Bago.
In Bago, okay.
Yeah, in Bago City. And then, on that day as well, ma-inquire lang kami. So, nakibot ko, nag-good lang, Miss D, one of the Bago City staff, yes, in Bago. Nagambal siya nga, why don't you try na interview, take interview today. Kaya para on Monday, first day of training, will if ever makapasar ka, makastart ka na sa training mo. So, nagambal ko na, pwede miss ka, balik lang ko tomorrow. Kaya syempre, hulbaan ko. Kan first time, tapos
Na-nerves ka.
Yeah. And then, she said, okay lang, you can try on the next day if hindi ka subong. But then, wala na kami nahimo. Si mama gatulad sa akin, yung my mother is always motivating me.
They say that mother is always right.
Yeah.
That's what they say, so you better follow them.
Yeah, that's true. And that day, I tried and I passed the interview. Miss D gave me the paper for requirements. So, on that day, Manang Markel told Miss D that base hindi ko makasulod for Bago batch because full na ang spot. So, si Miss D, she told me na i-process mo lang ang requirements mo and if ever, tawagan ka naman.
Alright.
Yeah, then third day, I think, yeah, she told me that if okay lang sa akon, I can train Bacolod branch. Yeah. So, I agree.
You did.
Yeah. If I won't try I won't agree to train for that month of June. Yeah, June to July. Maybe August na ako mag-training pa. So, yun grab ang opportunity. And I trained Bacolod batch 2.
Yes, and with the 2-month intensive training, I heard that you were not even able to finish the 2 months because you already passed the mock interview. And so you were able to, can we say that you got accelerated to finding a job? And your first job is with Transcom.
Yes.
And now you're working with Advanced Medical Consulting, is that right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. In the middle of second month of our training here in Bagosphere, we have mock selection, initial interview at Transcom. So that's my first interview and first call center that I worked for. So yes, I'm so happy and so blessed because of Bagosphere. I didn't finish the training and I got hired.
Okay, that's good. Now, Catherine, I would want you to talk to our audience here. They might know of someone who wants to be trained or they might want to be trained themselves. Now, ikaw nga taga diri sa Negros, maybe there's someone watching there. Encourage them to be part of Bagosphere.
Yes, for those out-of-school youths, high school graduate, 18 and above, if wala man lang kamo may ginahimo or may ginaobra sa inyong balay or obra, you have the opportunity nga magkadto diri sa Bagosphere and mag-apply for training. That is good for 2 months and I'm sure na hindi ka mo mag-regret. Yes, because most of us here in Bagosphere get a job after our training.
Okay.
So that's for 2 months.
Ellywn is really smiling here when
am.
you mentioned that.
Right.
And it's really good that you're the one telling them that Bagosphere made an impact in her life. Ellywn, what would you tell our audience right now if they're considering how can they help Bagosphere and how can they help improve the community through Bagosphere?
Well, I guess we're always looking for talented people, right? If you are interested in helping the community, you can always come by. So we always need people to help us advocate what we are doing to the communities. And actually, we do have people who are interested to volunteer with us and have actually done it before.
Yeah.
And depending on what they can do, so they can also help out in different areas in the company. Yeah, so that's one how they could help. But if you are willing to, if you want to looking at starting something to impact Filipino youth in general, I think that what's important is you need to have the determination, definitely, right, the passion, and the right people to work together with you and to help you, so that you can. It makes life a little bit easier. It's not going to be easy, no matter what, but it's going to help.
It will be easier. Adrian, how can you or what can you encourage us Filipinos? You know, as a Filipino, it makes me happy that there are others who are actually helping us here. And for Filipinos, what can you encourage? Like, you know, Adrian, you're not even a Filipino, but you're here helping us. Can you talk to us and encourage us to do something? A lot of people are already doing something.
Well, actually, I think what Bagosphere shows is that you have it in you. It's about believing in the potential and about coming together to really harness the full potential. I mean, the whole call center, the BPO industry is a huge success story for the country. It's all made in the Philippines. And what Bagosphere shows is that it can reach out to even many more people than would have been previously possible. And this applies to basically the whole of the country. I think creating a more inclusive society and particularly a more inclusive education system is something where a huge potential can be unleashed. And I think particularly what is needed is entrepreneurship and really seeing it through. And that's what I would encourage because the potential is here and it's huge.
Okay. Well, gentlemen and lady, thank you for joining me on the program this week. Thank you for your time. And there you have it. I hope that you were inspired by our conversation this week. Opportunities abound for everyone to participate and make a positive difference and a very good impact on the lives of even one person, one Filipino person. Don't forget to join the conversation online by leaving us a comment on Facebook, on the blog, or on IG. And if you need prayer request or encouragement, you can also send us an email. EMMYLOU One-on-One is an interview conversation, sharing stories one life at a time so we can get you inspired and motivated to keep growing in life and to making those dreams happen. Join me again next week for another story and for more conversations. Thank you for watching.